Hi everybody, this is Ray Kruse, the ISU Extension and Outreach Office of Dubuque County, and today we're talking about selecting and care of our Christmas tree when we bring it home. Before we go and choose our fresh Christmas tree from the store, we're going to want to make sure that we know the space that we're getting our tree for. Here we have a space along this wall. It's about 4 feet. It's a 9-foot ceiling, and we're also going to want to know the measurement of the maximum trunk diameter that will fit inside of our tree stand. So here we have a tree stand. The maximum diameter is right at about 7 inches, but we'll want to keep in mind that we need space for our screws to come out of the side. And the bottom is actually a little narrower than the top. So really this will only fit a 5-inch maximum trunk diameter. In addition to knowing these measurements going to the store, you want to bring your tape measure with you to measure your tree. In case your tree that you choose has a little bit more of a spiny texture, you want to bring yourself some leather gloves. It also helps with limiting the amount of tar and sap that gets picked up and on your hands, and then also some ratchet straps or some way to secure your tree to your vehicle for the ride home. So we're here today at the Dubuque Lowe's, and they've been kind enough to let us come in and show you what to look for in a fresh cut Christmas tree. We're going to talk about 3 things. Our main thing that we're going to do when going up to the Christmas tree is we're going to go up and see how pliable the branches are. And as long as the branch has somewhat of a plastic feel to it where it maintains its shape, it doesn't crack off, that's a good sign. The next thing that we're going to look for is the individual needles and that they're not easily able to pull off. As long as they're not easily pulling off, again, that's another indication that this is a fresh tree. The other thing that we're going to look for is a dark green color on the needles. Now the exception is like on this here, we're looking at a Fraser fir, and the bottom of the needles are white, so that's kind of an exception, but the top is a very nice dark green. So those are 3 things we're looking for. Everything else, such as shape, a strong leader candle. This one here has 2 leader candles. This one has 1. The aroma, the prickliness of the pines is not necessarily an indication of the tree quality, but it's more consumer preference. One of the very important things before you go home is to make sure that your tree is going to fit in your living space. This one here is a 7-foot tree. Our office has a ceiling of 9 feet, so we're clearly going to fit it in the office. Our display location has a maximum space available of 4 feet wide by 4 feet long, and we're sitting here right at 3.5 feet. Measuring the maximum distance of our tree trunk here, we're at 4 inches, so we're gonna have no problems fitting this in our Christmas tree stand. When bringing your Christmas tree home, sometimes they may fit inside the vehicle. This one may have fit inside of mine, but at the same time I didn't want all the tar and the pine sap getting all over the upholstery, so we strapped it to the roof. When doing that, we're gonna want 2 points of contact. We're gonna want one on the front and one on the back. This prevents the tree from shifting in the wind as we make corners and things like that. In addition to that, we're gonna take the strap and wrap it around the trunk. That will help prevent it from shifting underneath the pressure of the strap when it's on the roof. This is so that we have a safe transport home. In addition, we're going to want to point the branches away from the wind so that they're not catching wind as we go home and breaking off branches. When getting our tree home from the tree yard, what we're going to want to do is cut up from the original cut. Sometimes they'll offer you the ability to do this at the tree yard, but if it's not done there, you'll want to do this as soon as you get home from the tree yard. The reason why is because this tree has been removed from its roots, and what it does as a defense mechanism to try and survive is it takes all of the wounded material and plugs it with sap. What we're going to do is we're going to reopen that wound so that water will more easily flow up the tree. This tree here, like I said, we're normally on a normal tree, we're going to go up 1 inch from the original cut, but you'll see above that we have an additional wound. This outer bark here is actually the material on the tree that provides the most water moving action in the tree. And so we're going to want to make a fresh cut across that entire base. So we're actually going to go above this large wounded area, and that's where we're going to start our cut. So we're just going to saw all the way through and make a fresh cut all the way through the trunk of this tree. So as we get to the end of our cut, we're going to want to support our tree trunk here so that it doesn't fall off and rip the bark going up the tree, re-injuring it more than we want. So we're going to be very careful as we finish our cut here. And there we have it. We have a nice fresh cut all the way across the bottom of that tree, where this tree is going to be able to uptake some fresh water and keep this tree well hydrated throughout the holidays. Upon bringing your tree home, if you're not able to bring it inside for display, there is a proper way to store it. You will want to give your tree a fresh cut, but then you'll want to store your tree outside where it's cool and in a place out of direct sunlight. A garage is best, but here we're on the north side of our building. We're just going to stick it into a small little pan of water here until it's ready to come back inside. When we're ready to bring our tree inside for display, we may choose to trim another inch off the bottom of the trunk. It won't hurt if you do that. Then what we'll do is we will measure the depth at which our tree is going to sit in our tree stand that we have right here. For ours, it's going to be 7 inches. So we've cleared the bottom 7 inches of the tree trunk off of little branches, just using a plain bypass pruners. And from there, we're ready to mount the tree in the stand. The most important thing once we get our tree mounted in the stand is water. And the reason why water is so important is because it maintains the freshness of the tree so that the needles stay on the branches, as well as a nice bright green color. And we're just going to use simple tap water right from the tap. Give it a nice dose and fill it all the way up to the top of our reservoir twice a day. Now, I do like to monitor how much water my tree is taking up on a daily basis. I just use a plain dowel pin and see how much water is left in the reservoir. Right now, I've got about 5 inches and it's a 7-inch deep reservoir. So I'm just going to fill it up until the top. Normally with my Christmas trees, I am typically seeing a 2 quart per day uptake when we first put the tree in the stand, and gradually tapers off throughout the Christmas season. So with that, I hope you learned a little bit about selection, prep, and care of your Christmas tree to enjoy for the holidays.